country, we need you to be mamala of the country.
Yeah, that right there, that's pretty much wraps it up right there. That's how she wanted to react.
I've been
so cringe. I mean, meanwhile, hey, you know what? Somebody said that's the border czar. You know, this person right here, that's the border czar. And you wonder why the border's wide open, why everybody coming over here. Every time Dick, Harry from all over the whole world is coming through our border, unfettered, illegally, doing whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it. Because the border czar is right here, cringing on Drew Barrymore's talk show for no reason. No reason. Why are you even on there? How is that going to help the American people? Why do we care that you on a Drew Barrymore show? You're just trying to campaign for Joe Biden so he can try to win. Meanwhile, you guys are not doing your jobs. I prefer you just go out there and work and get your job done, rather than cringing on Drew Barrymore's show. But anyway, RFK, I found this little gem right here. Did you know that RFK Jr. wrote a book in 2008 attacking voter ID and saying that voter fraud doesn't exist? Okay, now, here's a question. Has he addressed this yet? I've not seen him address it. Okay, I've not seen him address it. But let's go ahead and just watch this so you understand what's going on.
Or whatever, but it's actually a comic book written by radical Democrat RFK Jr. Now, the comic book published all the way back in 2008, so you know, a little early internet, a little early social media for you, argues among other things that voter ID laws are, quote, I kid you not, racially rancid. He also claims by the way, the cover art for this comic book is ridiculous, but he also claims voter fraud has been non-existent. Now, his argument is that, quote, 1 out of every 10 Americans don't have a government-issued ID because they don't travel abroad, so they don't have passports, they don't drive cars, so they don't have driver's license, and the number rises to 1 in 5 when you're dealing with the African-American community, according to him.
Yeah.
And indeed, for those people to get a government-issued ID, it's an obstacle. So it's a little racist on his end, and all that is on.
So RFK Jr. says that if you black, you can't get an ID. It's just kind of hard, you know. Like we don't really do anything. We don't go do things. We don't have can't get no ID. All right. So that's his stance. That's the good guy, his stance, RFK Jr.
You know, page 16 of the comic, I actually went through and looked at it all because I couldn't believe it, and it's kind of in my wheelhouse. So numerous polls taken in recent years have shown that more than 3/4 of Americans support requiring proof of ID to cast a ballot.
So is that Jesse Jackson on the back of his comic book?
Years
or somewhere in there? Okay. So what's really going on there? I don't know what's going on with this guy. Just RFK, I'm not a fan. He said some things I agree with. I'm not going to sit here and say that he says nothing I agree with, like the vax and things of that nature. But everything else, I don't really see a lot of good. Wasn't he on Epstein's plane as well? Like he's got some issues for sure. Although he does say some things that I agree with, but that right there is crazy. Yeah, getting an obstacle, like getting an ID is not an obstacle. It's easy to go to the DMV. We know where it's at. If you are a person with no ID, you don't want to get an ID. You just are refusing to get it because it's so simple. It's so easy. It's not a thing that's difficult to do. And voting with an ID is so easy. When I go to vote where I live, all you got to do, show your ID, get your ballot and vote. You be in and out of there in a few minutes, 10 minutes. It's so simple. To say that process is racist is ridiculous. If you have a fraction of an IQ, you can do it. A fraction of an IQ, you can go do that. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. All right. Yeah, but having an ID is essential. You got to buy. Look, you want to go to the club. You want to go to the club, you want to fly, and we all flying. Look, we're flying airplane. We're not flying airplanes. We're flying on airplanes. We driving cars. Even if you're poor and you're relying on government benefits, how are you going to get that with no ID? Section 8, government housing, government payments, benefits. You got to have ID. Going to a job, you can't live with no ID. I don't understand. You may not have an ID if you just sell crack for a living, which is not the majority of black folks, obviously. It's not even a thing anymore. This is not 2000. This is not 1988. It's 2024. Okay, you got guys trying to drive trucks or something else rather than trying to sell crack for a living. But anyway, let's keep on going here. We got some more. Oh, this is about your man Jerry Seinfeld. So Jerry Seinfeld is talking about how the left have killed comedy. I might have played this last time. I'm gonna play it one more time.
It used to be you would go home at the end of the day. Most people would go, oh, Cheers is on. Oh, MASH is on. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on. All in the Family's on. You just expected there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people. Now they're going to see stand-up comics because we are not policed by anyone. The audience polices us. We know when we're off track. We know instantly, and we adjust to it instantly. But when you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's our thought about this joke, well, that's the end of your comedy.
Have you had that experience?
No.
Because isn't that what Curb is all about?
Yeah, Larry
basically-
was grandfathered in. He's old enough that I don't have to observe those rules because I started before you made those rules.
So yeah, shout out to Jerry Seinfeld talking about how the left have killed comedy, and that manifests itself on television. There's no more comedy TV shows. Like he was saying, back in the day, you could turn on the TV and you would find a funny show on television, and they weren't worried about being politically correct. It was just funny. It was just a good show. Those days are gone. They're long gone. And TV has become so fractured. We're not having the same experiences together. Like back when I was a kid, you might watch whatever the hot show was at the time. Let's say it was Family Matters or Fresh Prince, whatever it was. You watch the show and you go to school next day, talk about it. Those days are gone. People are watching Netflix, random stuff. People are more keyed into content creators than they are TV in many ways. And if they are watching TV, they're probably not watching any comedy at all. That might be why people are so upset and so triggered all the time, because they don't laugh. They don't laugh anymore. They're watching TV and things are so serious and political and cringe, they don't have time to laugh. There's no more comedy. Because everything's offensive. People get offended at every little thing. So it's impossible to have a show like a Seinfeld in 2024. All in the Family, all of that. Yeah, it's over. It's totally over. No more. A sitcom is dead because comedy is now offensive. This is why there's more of a focus on the stand-up and comedy specials like Chappelle, and maybe even a Joe Rogan, if he goes out there and does a comedy special or tours. They focus on that because you're not worried about TV executives getting in the way, giving their 2 cents, talking about, oh, that's too offensive, that's not right, that's not. We don't got time for that, to try to have the executive come in and put their 2 cents onto what you're doing. You could just go out there and, like you said, have the audience correct you in real time if you just going off the track and it's not what they want. You get direct feedback from the audience rather than having to go through a middleman of the executive where they filter down what they think the audience should hear and what they should see. Give it straight to me. If I go to Dave Chappelle's show, I want to hear Dave Chappelle. I don't want to hear what an executive has filtered from Dave Chappelle. And that's probably part of the reason why he didn't take that money back in the day. Remember Dave Chappelle? He had a Chappelle show, and then they offered him like $50 million, and he went to Africa, fled, because he didn't want to be just a puppet for them to do what they wanted. And I remember that time, because when he fled, people were kind of like, why would you do that? Is money on the table? We love the show, but he didn't want to be a part of their system. And I remember Affion Crockett had a show that was just like the Chappelle show, but it was, how can I say this? Affion Crockett's show came out after the Chappelle show stopped because Chappelle stopped doing it because of the whole situation. Affion Crockett's show looked like what they wanted the Chappelle show to be. Really stereotypical and cringe. And you could look at that show and see, oh, okay, I get it. He did not want his show to be watered down and filtered to make it be kind of a mockery or a minstrel like how they probably wanted. And of course, Affion Crockett show flopped, and he's pretty much just out here trying to do regular comedies like everybody else nowadays. Yeah, and then at the end of it, it paid off for Chappelle, because now here comes Netflix. It's a little bit less regulated. You go in there and do your comedy specials. You're getting 20 M's per special. And you can do tours, you can do movies or whatever you want. You have more freedom. That's part of the reason why I decide to remain independent and do my own thing. I have sponsors and stuff now, but the sponsors I have are not those. I have sponsors, but it's not like I'm part of a network. You got some guys that will sign to a network like Candace Owens did. Nothing against her, but I'm just saying this is an example of what I'm talking about. So Candace Owens had signed to Daily Wire, but once you do that, now you got to answer to Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring. I'm never going to have that. I'm never going to have that. Look, okay, if I got a sponsor, they're signing straight with me. And if they don't like my content and we want to part ways, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. If they want to stop, that's fine. It's totally okay. I'm not tripping. I'm not worried about some middleman getting in the way between myself and you guys. I'm going to say what I want to say, and the sponsors like it, then I love it. If they don't, okay, that's fine. Have a nice day. Find someone that is a fit. I'm not going to be under a contractual bind to do what anyone tells me to do. It don't matter how much money it is. It's not worth it. That's kind of how I feel. All right. Yeah, I ain't never going to sell out. No, any sponsor you see me have, they want to be with me. It's never a thing where I'm reaching out to them saying, hey, I'll do this if you give me some money. Never, ever, 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 ever will I do that. All right. But anyway, if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. I always do with those that want to do with me. Just like my website host. I told you guys many years ago when COVID first broke out, I did an article that went viral on my website, and I got a call from my host, and they weren't tripping. They weren't mad about the article because it was talking about COVID and ivermectin. They weren't worried about that. They were just like, hey man, your article's doing very good, and we support you. We want to help you get into a higher tier, so make sure your site does not drop. It doesn't crash anymore. And then they gave me a tier that was worth much more than what I was paying. A little inside baseball for you guys that didn't hear the story. So back then in 2020, my website crashed because my article went viral about COVID, and my website host calls me and they said, we got to put you on a higher plan. They quoted me $600 a month to pay for the plan. But I found out later the plan they put me on was something that you would have for like a really major e-commerce website, like a Shein or something like that. I'm talking about Amazon level. I was on the Amazon server for $600 a month. Now, for you guys that know, that is really cheap. You're talking about a plan that normally costs about $2,000 a month. They looked out for me to hook me up, and they said, no problem, write what you want to write. We're not going to get in the way. That's who I do with. That's who I like. I don't like anybody that's going to get in the way and say, oh, I can't. No, we're not doing that. Support me in what I got going on, or don't, or go over there, and it's fine. Yep. So shout out to my host, and shout out to the plan I was on. $600 a month when the plan was easily $2,000. Easily. I forget what it was called. I had an Amazon AWS server on my website for that price. For you guys that know, you know what it is. All right, let's keep on moving here. Dedicated Amazon AWS. Anyway, let's keep on rocking and rolling. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Yeah, I crashed the whole server when the website, when the article went viral. I was on the share, at the time I was on the shared server, the whole server crashed. Everybody's website on the server crashed because the article was so crazy. All right. Yeah, shout out to you, Duke Road. You like the picture of my dad on Twitter of the my firefighter father on Twitter. Yeah, that was crazy. What happened in New York? When I did this story about the firefighter who got fired for the migrants. And if you guys didn't hear the story, basically in New York City, a firefighter was fired to make room for the migrants. And he died 4 months later of a heart attack, age 36. Now, there was a lot that went on with that. First of all, he was on extended desk duty because he had some issues before. He had a heart attack some years ago in the academy. I think it might have been in 2019. He had a heart attack. And people are asking, hey, how are you a firefighter and you appear to be in pretty good shape? And I put him on the screen. His name is Derek Floyd. How are you a firefighter in pretty good shape and you have a heart attack at the age of, 32 and then 36 and you died? Well, the issue with firefighters, I'll explain it to you guys right quick if you don't know. And I put my dad's picture up too for you guys who want to see. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Okay, so first, there's Dad right there. I'm not sure when this was. This is probably like 2005, 2006 maybe. It might have been before that. I can't really tell where this was. I don't know when this was. This had to have been